Hey coaches, what's going on? It is Coach Tim here with another video, guys, and I got a really good one for you today. Actually got a really special one for you. I want to talk to you guys about the top 10 red flags to avoid when it comes down to starting a youth sports program. And this applies to if you're starting a youth football program, baseball, basketball, you name it. And also, it doesn't matter if this is little league, middle school, or high school, guys, that you're coaching, all right? And guys, before we get into this video, do me a solid. Go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, guys, if you haven't already. You'll be doing me a big solid, guys. So let's get into it, guys. I actually had to write down these things so I don't forget because, these are red flags that I have personally experienced throughout my 13 years of coaching. And I've coached, football, softball, baseball, and throughout the years, these are some of my biggest red flags to hopefully guys, this will help you guys kind of avoid these. And for some of you guys who haven't avoided these, and you're probably going through it, you may be able to resonate with them. So let's get to it, guys. So, number one, the first red flag that you want to avoid, especially on the little league level, youth football level especially, don't pay for all of your players to play. Okay, guys, don't pay all of the registration fee. Don't get all of the equipment for your kids, because guess what? Once these kids, or more so once these parents are realize that you're going to handle everything and they're not invested, guess what? They're going to depend on you to do everything else, guys. And I've done this twice where I paid for, an entire football team to play youth football. I've done this twice, and every time has been a rough season because the parents aren't as committed to bringing the kids to practices, to games. The parents are not keeping up with the kids' equipment. They're not holding the kids accountable when it comes down to, keeping up with their things. So, one of the things that I do to kind of just offset this is that I have a scholarship for about 3 kids. Kids who may not be able to afford the registration fee or equipment or both. I only afford it for 3 kids because what I've learned is when you try to do it for the whole team, the level of commitment, it goes south fast. And a lot of the parents, not all the parents, but a lot of the parents, they will just take it for granted, and they will basically pussyfoot their way around making sure their kids come to practices, come to games, show up with all their equipment. So don't do it. So number 2, and this kind of piggybacks on number 1, make sure you have extremely strong guidelines for your parents, guys. This is huge, guys, especially in neighborhoods where, football is not valued. There are certain communities where the commitment is strong to football and the development of the kids, whether it's football, baseball, basketball, whatever. But if you're in a community where you're trying to really make a difference in, football or sports not valued, you really want to have those strong guidelines for these parents. For example, if let's say you want to have very strong guidelines to make sure your kids show up for practice, right? So you can have a guideline to say, if your child misses 1 practice, they will be suspended the first half of the game, or they'll be suspended the whole game. They won't be able to play that game for that week. Like you have to set these strong guidelines, because what I'm learning is that this is a new generation of parents, and there are a lot of parents out there who don't value youth sports like maybe our parents did or our grandparents did. So the level of commitment and value is different, and you have to let these parents know that there are consequences when kids are not when they don't bring their kids, or when their kids not fully committed to the development of the game, because most of us guys are volunteers, especially on the little league level. Most of us are volunteers, and we're not getting paid for this. We lose money for this, right? And we do it out of the kindness of our heart because we love the game and we love making an impact. And, even with middle school and high school coaches, you guys are spending your extra time away from your families, if you have one, to try to install, principles and values to make these kids better people. And the worst thing you can do is have a half committed kid, because they're gonna play, half committed on the football field. All right, guys. So number 3, you want to be very selective, guys, with who you have in leadership positions. This is vital. You have to be careful with who you put in leadership positions, because you can put somebody in a leadership position, and I made videos about this before. You can put somebody in a leadership position, and their whole purpose is to try to sabotage the vision, the philosophy of your organization. And you don't want that to happen. I don't care if these guys are your friends, y'all hang out after work, y'all are buddies, y'all are classroom or former classmates. It doesn't matter. One of the biggest mistakes that you can make is put somebody in a leadership role that doesn't share your values, your leadership philosophy, and they don't respect what you're trying to install. Let's say you're trying to install the BEAST offense, and they're all about spread offense, and they think the BEAST offense is bull crap. Well, guess what? You may run into some problems with having somebody, who's trying to basically dictate the way you need to run your offense. When you're going to run the BEAST offense and they want to air it out and run, spread offense or 3x1s or something like that. So you got to be careful with that, guys, because it can easily go south very fast. I've seen some of the best programs split up because the assistant coaches and the head coach had a falling out, and all of a sudden the assistant coach started a whole new program and split the kids up. And now a program that could have been a powerhouse is now, average or maybe slightly above average. So you don't want that to happen, guys, to you. All right. Now, this is a big one, guys. And this is something that will save you a headache, a whole year or two of a headache. Be very selective with where you start your youth football program. If you a youth football coach or youth basketball coach, and you want to start a youth football team, be very selective with where, okay? And I'm gonna be more specific. I'm gonna help you guys out. Look for an area where the community values football, okay? Look for communities that value sports, that value the game. Then look for communities where there are families. There's a lot of families, and the families are positive people, good people, because I'm telling you, you can put yourself in a community where the people don't get along with each other. There's a lot of, crime and a lot of gang violence. And I'm not saying don't start a youth football program in an urban area or in a hood or anything like that. I'm not saying that, because most of my youth football coaching career has been coaching programs in urban areas or what people deem as a hood or something like that. What I'm saying is, though, if that hood or that urban area, if the people don't value sports or they don't value having a quality program, you're going to be in for it, because, there's a saying that you can't make good wine with old grapes, guys. I'm going to repeat that. You can't make good wine with old or bad. I just botched that. You can't make good wine with bad grapes. You cannot make good wine with bad grapes. So, guys, you got to realize that everybody don't value a quality program. If you want a quality program where the kids are of real fundamental, they listen, they got good character issue, they come from good families for the most part, and some that may not, I don't judge when I start a program, I don't judge it per se about, you know, does the kid have a dad at the house or something? I don't judge it by that. What I judge it by is do the parents how do the parents live their life? How do the mom live her life? How do the dad live his life? Do they have good values? Things of that nature. So, when you start your youth program, you want to make sure it's in an area where they want you there. If they don't want you there, it's going to be an uphill battle to get things the way you want it to be. All right, guys, that's a big one. That's a really big one. And all right, guys, this kind of piggybacks on point 3 I made. You want to select dependable volunteers. So you want to make sure you have good parents who really want to be out there with their kids, not just dropping their kids off and look at you as like a glorified babysitter. That irritates me to no end. When the parent, they'll drop the kid off, they'll go on about their business. That's their way to hook up or go and do their own thing. And I'm one of those people that used to literally put kids on the back of my Tundra. I used to have about 10 kids on the back of my Tundra, trying to come to practice. And literally the practice field was 5 minutes away from their homes. The practice field was 5 minutes away from their homes, and I drove about 35 minutes to the neighborhood, but yet I had to pick up all the kids, make sure they get to the practice field. Like, you don't want to do that. You want to have good volunteers, good parents in place who will help the program be great. And also, make sure these parents are actually involved in their kids' development in these youth football programs, or basketball or baseball or whatever, softball or whatever you want to do. You have to make sure these parents are involved. And if the parents aren't involved, you need to make sure you have a good volunteer corps who can kind of hold the weight of it, guys. That's huge. All right, guys. So this is another really big one, and I'm kind of no nonsense on this one. Don't let your kids get away with behavioral issues, okay? If your kids are getting suspended because they're fighting, or they're cussing out teachers, or they cussing out their parents, or cussing out you or the coaches, zero tolerance, guys. You got to have zero tolerance for that, because when you deal with kids and you let them get away with undisciplined things, and you let them get away with cussing and fussing, and it's not going to get better, guys. It's not going to get better. You have to discipline those kids. Sometimes that means suspending a kid. Sometimes that means kicking a kid off a team. Like, you can't do it, because it spreads like a virus. If you let one kid get away with it, other kids going to try you and test you and see if they can get away with it. And for me personally, guys, I got zero tolerance for it. I'm not going to allow, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old to talk, make threats to me, my coaches, their parents, and still think they'll be able to play sports, because sports is a privilege. And you want to teach these kids that there are consequences to your actions, these kids need to understand that, hey, if you cuss out your boss, or try to make threats to your boss, you're going to get fired from a job. If you try to threaten your principal or something, you're going to get expelled from school. So you have to really double down on that behavioral issues and really discipline the kids. If not, and if they're uncoachable, that's a big one. If the kids are uncoachable, sometimes you just have to let the kid go. And that's just a big thing. You're just going to have to let them go. All right, guys. And here's another one. I mean, all of these are good, guys. I'm just trying to help you based on experience that I've been through, guys. And if you're liking this stuff so far, guys, do me a solid. Go and hit that like button, guys, and subscribe. Hit that like button if you agree with what I'm saying, or you digging what I'm saying right now, guys. All right, number 7, guys. Don't argue with parents in front of other parents or the kids, okay? This is a huge one, guys. Because, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, guys. If you coach for any stretch on any level, you may run into some issues where you find yourself getting into a dispute with a parent about something, some type of disagreement, and there may be a time where you lose your cool or about to lose your cool. Well, one of the things I would always say, guys, is, and this is my rule, do not get in no shouting match or no argument with the parents in front of your kids or other parents, because that's one of the fastest ways to lose a program, lose influence with your team. Guys, if it's going to be a dispute like that, what you want to do is set another time where the tempers are lower, and you want to set a time where you're talking to that person one-on-one with maybe another coach or volunteer in an isolated situation, so you can deal with that fire right there, right? You don't want to be in a shouting match with another parent. Now y'all about to get to fighting, and it's just chaotic. That's one of the fastest ways you can lose influence with your team and with your program, guys. So you just can't do it. You gotta be the leader and control your temper to the point where even if the parent is still fussing and out of control, you have the maturity to walk away from the situation and then address the situation at another time. That's how you have to address that, okay? And if the parent decide they want to pull their kid, little Johnny, away from your program, so be it. So be it. But the last thing you want to do is be fighting a parent or fighting a coach or anybody, a kid, because you lost your temper, you lost your cool. Because once you act on that, it's no taking it back, especially in this day and age where people record everything. You just can't take it back. All right. All right, guys. Number 8. All right. This is a quick one, but it's a very important one. Have one form of communication, guys. Have one platform of communication that you communicate with all your parents from. Okay, guys. It can be band app. It can be GroupMe. It can be just standard text messaging. It can be a Facebook group. Whatever it is, just have one form of communication, because when you get multiple platforms of communication, we kind of ran into that issue this year where, I usually would use GroupMe as my app. And so I ended up going with a band app based on a parent recommendation. And it just totally confused parents for a while, because they was thinking, well, I like GroupMe. It's simple, it's practical. And then you had another set of parents, I like band because it's more interactive and more, streamlined. And so for me, guys, moving forward, I'm going to go with one platform, guys. And I'm probably going to go back to GroupMe personally, because it's just simple and it's easier for parents who may not be as tech savvy as others. And just keep one standard form of communication, guys. It makes it easy for everybody. Everybody, all right? All right, guys, we're coming down to the end, guys. So number 9, you don't want to make it a habit to pick up kids, okay, guys? And I kind of talked about this earlier in the video, but you don't want to make it a habit to pick up kids, because the parents begin to depend on you to do everything, guys. Again, I ain't going to say wasted, but I would say I was the one for 4 years of coaching would pick up more than half of my kids, or half of them, okay? I was getting them on the back of my truck and literally carry 10 to 12 kids on the back of my truck, then have kids inside my truck, taking them to the practice field. And literally the practice field was 5 minutes away, and the parents would be sitting on the porch chilling, barbecuing, just having a good old time at the house while you picking up their kids like you're their babysitter. Your kid's babysitter, their kid's babysitter. From time to time, you may have a kid that may need a ride, or a parent may have car issues. But, if guys, look, I'm here to tell you, if you let these parents get away with doing certain things like that, with just picking up their kids on a regular basis, they will use you, okay? They will use you, and they will not give rats, how you feel about it until you say something to them about it. And if you say something to them about it, they may pull their kid away or get offended. But so what, guys? You know, you got to have a high standard. If you want a quality youth sports program, guys, you have to have high standards for your parents, high standards and expectations, guys. If not, instead of you pulling the kids or the program up to your level, they're going to pull you down to their level. And that's what you don't want. That's what you don't want. You don't want the parents, the culture to pull you down to whatever level they're on. You want to pull it up if you can. And if you can't, get out of Dodge. That's my advice. Get out of Dodge if you can. If they don't value what you're building and what you're trying to do, find a community, a school, an area that values what you value, because then it becomes easier from a cultural standpoint to install everything that you're trying to, you know, install as a youth football coach or a basketball coach or a middle school coach or high school coach, you name it. All right. And this is the last one, guys. And I kind of in a sense saved the best for last. But I want to say, guys, number 10, if you don't have time to coach or the resources to coach, don't coach, guys, until you're ready. Okay. So important, guys. Look, we coach because we love the game. We love the development, to teach, to educate, to inspire. But unfortunately, sometimes we just don't. We need, you know, we have jobs. We have families that need us, okay? And you don't want to strain your family, lose your marriage. There's so many coaches I know that have lost their marriage over youth football. Over youth football, lost their marriage over it. Guys, it's not worth it, guys. What is it to sacrifice a year or two and not coach youth football to make sure your house is straight, right? Your household is intact. What is it to, you know, sacrifice a year to make sure you're able to keep your job, keep the bills paid? And guys, when I was younger, when I first started coaching, I was 20 years old. And, you know, one of the biggest mistakes I made was I was like, screw my job. I'm finna coach youth football because I love it. But it wasn't paying the bills. And I got married young. You know, I was 20, well, I was 19 when I got married, and I was 20 when I started coaching. And, you know, the mistake I made, I started head coaching, but I was like, screw my job at the time. I mean, it wasn't a great job, but it paid the bills, right? And so I put, you know, me and my wife at the time, I put us in a very, you know, tight situation financially because I put football over, you know, marriage or family life, which was a bad thing. So don't do that, guys. All right. All right, guys. I hope you got value out of this video, guys. I know it was longer than I know what I normally do, but I felt like it was important to have a video of this nature to help a lot of you coaches who are just starting, thinking about starting, or some of you guys who are just having a tough season this year, man. You know, this year for me has not been the funnest season for a lot of reasons, but, you know, I take every season as a learning experience, and that's what I want to do with you guys. You know, I started Beast Out You to help you guys win more games and score more points and be the standard of your league. And literally this video is the very foundation to help you be the standard of your league for years to come, because it's not about the wins and losses. Not for me anyway. It's about the impact. It's about the outcomes of your athletes, of your student athletes. It's the outcomes of how you impact your community. And that's what you want to happen. All right, guys. So again, guys, if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, guys. And remember, guys, be great, have fun, and beast out. Peace.